What is up, super cool people of the internet? Welcome to my channel. My name is Amethyst. Welcome to this little corner of the internet that I reside in. Today's video is going to be a long overdue video, probably like 3 years overdue, but we're here doing it now. First, let's do a little introduction. My name is Amethyst. I have pet rats, pet cats, pet frogs now, which is a whole thing that we haven't talked about yet on this channel. I like to make lifestyle content. I don't post regularly because I also have a full-time job and a part-time job and volunteer work that I do. So there's a lot going on in my life, but I'm trying to be a little bit better about posting. A lot of people here are here for my rat content. It is my first video on this channel was me getting my first two girls, Nezuko and Tanji. And yes, all my rats are named after anime characters. So I thought maybe we'd go over my story of having rats and kind of just give you guys like the rundown, like this is what happened. This is how I have rats. This was all of the rats that I've had. I've had a total of 9. Today's video is going to be long, so I hope y'all are ready. Let's do the story first, and then we'll get into the sad parts at the end of this video. But I had started getting rats with 2 girls, 2 sisters, Tanji and Nezuko, and they were great at first, but they stopped getting along pretty quickly. There was a power dynamic that was off, which can happen with pet rats. Any kind of pack animal, which rats are a pack animal, you cannot own just one. Like, literally, you could, but it's actually illegal in a lot of countries because of how it's basically animal abuse. And so I had these 2 sisters and they weren't getting along, so I reached back out to my breeder and she gave me one of her mama rats, one of her breeding rats that had already had 3 litters, so she was retiring as a mama rat, and she was really good to the breeder I purchased from, so she said that she would help with their dynamic, and 100% she did. They started getting along swimmingly. They all just got along so much better after that. Boca was the mom rat that I got. She's probably my heart rat. Yeah, probably Boca. When she passed away, it was down to Tanji and Nezuko. And Tanji passed first. She had developed a tumor in her rear area that popped, basically, and was just not doing well. So she had to be put down. As soon as I realized Tanji wasn't going to make it, I adopted, or I purchased, however you want to say it. I don't know, I interchange adoption and purchase loosely with rats. With cats and dogs, I don't. Like, to me, there's a very clear difference, but for some reason for my rats, I'm always like, oh, I adopted, but I didn't really adopt them, I purchased them. But I got them from a breeder, and they were Anya and Naru, and they were sisters. They got along with Nezuko. You guys might have seen the video, like, immediately. So Nezuko had to live by herself for like 5 days to a week or something like that. And then shortly after getting Anya and Naru, I'm trying to make sure I have the timeline correct. Either right before Nezuko passed or right after Nezuko passed. I can't remember if they were ever together. But I got 4 girls from a friend of mine who had purchased feeder rats, actually. And Sakura and Tamaki, who is currently sleeping in the little mushroom hide there, they are both feeder rats, which is crazy because they are 2 years and 10 months, 9 months or 10 months old. So they are old. They are old ladies. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, you want to come out, so I'll let you out. Actually, you probably don't want out. You probably want treats. Yeah, that's what it was. Then I had these 4 girls, these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful girls. There was Asuna, there was Hinata, Sakura, and Tamaki. Tamaki, there's lots of Tamakis in anime, so I guess I'll tell you guys, she's from Fire Force's Tamaki. I'm pretty sure I actually was pronouncing her name incorrectly for like most of her life, and I still sometimes I'll say Tamaki and sometimes I'll say Tamaki. Same rat, different pronunciations. Yes, I understand that they are 100% different names, but my brain just, yeah, is a little broken sometimes. So I do call Tamaki Tamaki and vice versa, but she's named after the one in Fire Force. Sakura and Hinata, obviously Naruto. Asuna is from Sword Art Online. Anya is from Spy Family. And Naru is actually Usagi's best friend in Sailor Moon, the like human best friend. Tanji and Nezuko, most people know, they're from Demon Slayer. And then Boca actually was the given name from the breeder, and I did not change her name when I got her just because she was like She was also very, very old. That is my rat story, and I have decided not to get any more rats. And the reason being is I'm, one, allergic, which is like not the biggest deal in the world, to be honest. Like, I'm allergic to my cats. I just take a pill daily. However, my pill daily doesn't account for like if I'm, oh hey, Tamaki came out. See, girl. My pill will not prevent me from breaking out in hives when I handle my rats. Doesn't always happen. I think it's whenever they leave micro scratches, which is just bound to happen with rats. I just swell up and I get rashes and hives, so not the best thing ever. But honestly, the two big things is their lifespan is so short, and you can't go with just one. So it's like, you get multiple rats because it's better for them to have like a lot of personalities in the cage. I think we're in a different position because I got a phone call. But where were we at? I think we were talking about, we're talking about why I'm not getting any more. The lifespan, it never gets easier. It is devastating and heartbreaking every time you have to say goodbye to someone. And it's kind of like a catch-22. I feel like a lot of people who get rats, are the type of people who want like the underdog pet, like the pet that is like unconventional but so loving and so rewarding and all of those like, you know, quirky things. But usually those are also the people that have a more intimate and deep bond with their pets. So it's like, okay, you're going to get this pet that's going to be like the best experience of your life, but it's also going to be the worst experience of your life. So that was, that's a big reason why I'm not getting any more. And the second one is, quite frankly, they are expensive. Their maintenance is incredibly affordable. Like, it's like $30 for a big old bag of bedding that's going to last you like 3 or 4 months. And then like if you choose like the Lab Blocks route or Oxbow route, then it's, you can pay $70 for a big old bag of food that lasts you like basically the whole year, depending on how many rats you have. It's like these things are around like $3. You know, the maintenance is like incredibly affordable. You want another one, or are you done eating? But those vet bills, dude. Oh my god, they are exotics, so it's going to be expensive, and I'm going to do a whole thing on vets and everything, but just know that their vet bills, I have spent probably $1,000 on each rat, which is like kind of crazy. So like $1,000 in 2 years, you know, it's expensive. They're very expensive, and yeah, for the most, I've only had one girl who has made the decision for me on when she was going to pass. So it's kind of hard to know that the animal that you're taking into your home, you are going to have to choose when they go. So that's a big reason why I'm not getting any more. My heart cannot handle anymore. So that is the upfront part. And now we're going to get into just like different categories of things. My little like 101 guide. This is not I'm not a professional. I have no expertise except for owning 9 rats. And my opinions are my opinions. I'm not judging anyone who does anything different than me. I think that we have enough judgment from the rest of the world on everything else. Unless you're, the only time I'm going to like properly judge you is if you put them in a glass cage or if you have only one. I'm sorry, you need to do more research and you need to change what you're doing because it is not appropriate for a rat. That's what I'll say. With that out of the way. We're going to go over cages first because I feel like that one is really easy. Get a Critter Nation. You could also get a Critter Nation. Or another good cage is a Critter Nation. Yeah, it's like the most amazing cage ever. Almost every rat owner that you see online has one because it is the best cage for a rat. It has plenty of like these, you know, you can hang things off the side. You can customize them. This is actually 2 Critter Nations stacked together. You can see my hand going through. Or next to each other, which is not a typical setup for a Critter Nation, but you can make it work with a DIY. They stack, so if you have like a ton of rats, you could do like 3 or 4. They're just incredible. They are a little bit of an upfront cost, so the upfront cost of rats is not cheap. They are more expensive than like getting my cats. Like getting them is expensive, but maintenance is cheap, and then end of life care is really expensive. So Critter Nation, Critter Nation, Critter Nation. Get a Critter Nation. All my Amazon links will be down below for everything that I'm using. For my rats, I will say that I have affiliate codes, so I might get a kickback. The company will send me a little bit of money, basically as a marketer. So if you would like to support me, you could use the links down below to, you know, get the products, or even use the link and buy something else that you've been planning on buying. It still gives me a bit of kickback, so I will put that disclaimer out there. Honestly, I don't recommend buying them brand new. You actually would have a better shot going on Facebook Marketplace and finding like a used one. My first one was used. I think I paid $50 for it, and it lasted me pretty well. It's definitely like way rusted. Like, I'm not going to resell that one. I might donate it, or honestly keep it for one of my cats. I cannot donate it because I also spray painted it, which yes, you can spray paint your rat cages. Use like, there's a specific Rust-Oleum, and that's the one that I use. I don't remember the brand off the top of my head, but I'll do some more research and link what I found down below so you guys can do your own research and make your decision. But I'm pretty sure they come in gray and black, like those are the two typical colors. And I had actually had 3 or 4 cages before this one, and honestly it was just like, why didn't I get the Critter Nation in the first place? It's been my question all along. So 100% get the Critter Nation. And other things would be, if you choose not to get a Critter Nation, you cannot get something that doesn't have all 4 sides are breathable and the top is breathable. The rats have incredibly sensitive respiratory setups, so they can get sick very quickly, and if you have any kind of ammonia trapped from their pee, they can get sick very quickly. So you do not want anything that could restrict the airflow through the cage. And you don't want anything that's not a metal they can't chew, because rats, fun fact, can chew through almost every single material out there. So, and they will. And then cage stuff. So you're going to want a lava ledge or some variety of it. I get mine off Chewy for like $6. Whenever I would get like a food or bedding shipment, I would just buy another lava ledge. They also come in the Ratty Box, which is like a subscription service. It comes with a hide, a hammock, a snack, and a toy or like enrichment item. I cannot recommend them enough. I'll leave them linked down below. I have stopped getting them for the last few months because I actually have so many hides left over that I'm just trying to not be wasteful. So yeah, that's what's happening there. You are not going to want to use like fleece as their bedding. I have it on my like flat sections because I feel like it just makes it cuter, and I think that they like it more. I don't have evidence of that, but especially these two, since they have brain tumors and they're dragging their legs, the fleece is a lot easier than like a hard plastic. But you don't want your fleece to be your main source of bedding. I also have a concrete mixing tub in my other side of the Critter Nation, which I will show you like clips and stuff of, and that way they have their bedding to also dig. None of my 9 girls have dug, but I heard that some rats do. So it's good to have some sort of system where they can dig. That's another good thing of the Critter Nation, is that the basin of like those Home Depot concrete mixing things fits in a Critter Nation. So you don't have to worry about like, how am I going to make a dig space? Like, you kind of have it's a perfect fit. You're going to want hides, hammocks. This was more beneficial when they were younger and could actually climb, things for them to climb up. It's better to have a stacked high Critter Nation because they like to climb and they like height and everything, but now that they're older, these two specifically cannot utilize height, so I have it side by side. But that is like the most ideal way to have them, is up and up. And so you want all the things, all the stuff for them to climb on. You want to have hammocks in strategic places in the Critter Nation that if they were to fall off a ledge, they can like catch themselves safely, stuff like that, because they can pass away from falling. I've had my one rat fall off the double stacked Critter Nation. She just yeeted herself, and she was fine. But there are some rats who will fall from a height like this high down, and they just hit their brain just right that they unfortunately pass. So it's important to have like fail safes like that in place. So if I were to restart, I would have immediately gotten the Critter Nation. I would have used these fleeces from Dollar Tree. They were amazing. I would have immediately signed up for the Ratty Box. Again, $30 a month. I feel like it's worth it if you have the funds to. If you don't have the funds to, at least save $30 a month for when their vet bills come around. I'll tell you that. Oh, you're going to want multiple sources of water. These ones are actually technically too big for them, but they've always worked for my girls. So I have 2 rabbit water bottles and then like a couple of the smaller ones as well. So you want many sources of water, because if one stops working, it is so important that they get their water as soon as they need it. Otherwise they can pass away like pretty quickly without water sources. Okay, so that's like the cage thing. Food. So you guys probably have seen a couple of videos of mine on food with the rats. I prefer the Shunamite diet. I got off the Shunamite diet because I couldn't keep up with it, so I switched to Oxbow food, which is a complete diet for rats, including all their micronutrients, macronutrients. So it's a fail-safe way to make sure that they're actually eating a full and complete diet. Some people believe that the Oxbow could cause cancers or shorten their lifespans. Some people believe the Shunamite doesn't give you a full, complete, nutrient panel for them. So it really is just like do your research and choose. Personally, if I could, I would have started with the Shunammite diet and just stuck to it. The only thing with Shunammite is that you also have to do fresh foods. You can't just do dry. So if you're a little bit busier, like I was, which is why I switched to Oxbow, another one of the many reasons actually, I was not able to keep up with the wet food. So you're supposed to do like, you know, their dry salad and wet salad. I just couldn't keep up with that one, so I felt like it was better for me to just do the Oxbow. Shunammite is expensive up front. Probably going to spend around $200, $250. After that, it's like pennies a day. Oxbow is like long-term more expensive, but short-term cheaper. There's also some sort of lab blocks that I could never find, so I never fed my rats them, but I hear a lot of breeders will use the lab blocks because, again, they have a full complete diet within those little chunks. If you can, scatter feed them so that they at least get some fun and enrichment from eating, because rats are animals that need enrichment, which is partially why the Shunammite diet is better, but also partially why it's not better. It's better because they can forage through the food, but they can forage through the food, so they might just pick out the foods that they like and then be missing a nutrient and you would never know. And then there's bedding. So this is one that is probably the only thing that stays controversial from what I see, and especially on my channel. Actually, I've gotten a couple hateful comments about the bedding that I choose to use, but I've also gotten hateful comments about the bedding that those people recommend that I had once used. So when I first started, I was using a kiln-dried wood bedding. It was one that is like recommended for rats. There's 3 like wood beddings out there, and 2 of the 3 are safe for rats, and 1 is like super toxic, and I just don't remember which one it was that's toxic because I don't use it because I hated it. It gave both Nezuko and Hanji respiratory infections, which, fun fact, since switching off that wood, I have never once gotten a girl with a respiratory infection. Not a one. Well, okay, that's, I guess, a little bit of a lie, because one of them got a respiratory infection as a side effect for a larger issue that was going on. But that wasn't because of the bedding. That was because she had an issue with her whole entire face. I use Carefresh, Tutti Frutti or Confetti. Actually, I think I switched between the two. Tutti Frutti bedding. It is a dyed bedding. Not like overly processed, overly dyed, I should say. It claims to be 99% dust-free, which is a requirement for rat bedding because, again, sensitive respiratory processes. Why can't I think of respiratory system? That's the word I'm looking for. Sensitive respiratory systems. So they need to be 99% dust-free. Never use fragrance. Never, ever, 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 ever. You should not be using even like a candle in the same room as your rats. Sorry, that's the matter of it. Very bad for them. Don't use candles, don't use air fresheners, don't use scented bedding. I don't use room sprays in this room. I just use an air purifier. That's it. People think that it causes respiratory infections. They think that the dyes are toxic, and they think that paper bedding traps ammonia. So those are the 3 things that I get told in my comment section. I think everyone has the right to believe what they want to believe. I have not found any evidence that any of those 3 things are true. These 2 girls, they've only used this bedding in their like 2 years and 10-ish months. I don't want to say that they're wrong, because there's a good chance that maybe I'm the wrong one, but I have been using this bedding, except for 1 bag of wood bedding, my entire rat career, if you want to call it that, and I've never had any issues. And none of my vets, I've had 4 vets that have seen my rats, have ever said anything that like this is a bad choice. And they tell me when other things are bad choices. That's not a bad choice to them. Do with that what you will. Do your own research. But I personally loved my Carefresh bedding. I hated the wood. It stunk. Like, it stunk real bad. It made my room smell like Tractor Supply Company. It got stuck to everything. I haven't used pine bedding or whatever wood bedding that was in it's like 3.5 years I've had my rats. Something like that. And I still find wood chips and like the most random things. And I've moved homes. Like, I don't even live in the same home that I had those. God, they were awful. They were uncomfortable. And honestly, like, I felt like they were pretty dusty. So, I don't know. Bedding is one of those things, I guess, just maybe the internet will never agree on it. All I know for sure is I don't like the Kaiti one. Didn't try it because when I looked it up, there was some stuff that just conflicted a little bit. Don't use any fragrance. Don't use anything that's like, if it gets wet, it like dyes your animal. Like, that is definitely not good. Again, Carefresh doesn't do that. And don't not use bedding. You should not have a cage that is bedding free. You shouldn't have a cage that is just fleece lining. One, you have to change the fleece lining like at least once a week at a minimum, depending on how many rats you have. Like when I have two, I can let it last a week and then I can switch it out, because it traps the ammonia, and if you don't use a specific ammonia breaking down detergent, which also has to be scent free, and more helpful would be dye free as well, then it will stink, the ammonia will get trapped, and then respiratory infections occur. They need something to dig, they need something to hide their food, something that you can go in and hide their food when you're feeding them. Again, my girls have never been tunneling rats, but they still enjoy the bedding. They still like shuffling through it and everything. So it's very important that you have bedding in their cage. So anyways, that's cages. I feel like I've been on that one for a while. So let's go on to the next topic, which is oh wait, that was bedding, not cages. Vets and insurance. Nationwide has pet insurance for rats. I will leave it linked down below. Do not go without vet insurance for your pet rats. If you do, that $1,000 I talked about, I got back out of the $1,000 probably $800. So I only actually paid $200. I mean, you have to pay for it and then they reimburse you. But still, if you have a care credit card, you could put it on the care credit card, and then the money that they reimburse you with, you just pay off the card and then continue paying the $200 until, you know, it's paid off, whatever. Be responsible. The most incredible thing I could have possibly done for myself and for my rats is getting that pet insurance. So I'll leave it linked down below, as well as the care credit card. Now, whatever financial disclaimer I need to put, it's going to be down there in the description, because obviously recommending a credit card is a very scary thing to do. If you are not good with your credit, don't take the credit card. I don't know. But I know that when I've had little to no money, that credit card has come in clutch. It's made for like vet health medication bills. And it's like 6 months no interest on a payment. And then after 6 months, if you haven't paid that payment off, then it hits with the interest, and it can be brutal if you do not pay it off on time. So I pay actually $100 each week to my care credit card, because that leaves enough money in there for me to use it. And then also I'm always paying off everything within 6 months. So I really have found that my care credit has been clutch. I really have enjoyed it. I think that it's a brilliant system when it's used appropriately. Obviously, there are some cases where you let the interest lapse and it's very expensive. So don't let that happen. But if you are in a dire situation and you are needing some cash up front, it has helped me. So I will leave that link down below, as well as the insurance. And you're also going to want a vet before you ever adopt your rats. Don't wait until the last minute to be calling 10,000 different vets in the area, being like, do you see rats? Do you see rats? Just find one before you get the rats. Also, ask them before you get the rats, how much is a visit? Because then you can get an idea of how much you're going to need. Maybe you could save up for the first, 3 vet visits before getting your rats. That'll be, peace of mind. But you're going to want to find a vet. You're going to have to look for an exotic. When you're calling the vets, ask them if they know any other vets that see rats. If they don't, because it might be helpful to, narrow down your search very quickly. I got lucky and found, I guess if you're in the Anderson area, Electric City Vet Clinic has been the most life-saving vet ever. They are not overly expensive. I like Dr. Scott. She's my favorite. I would prefer to see her over Dr. Taupe, but Dr. Taupe is also great. And I actually travel 45 to 50 minutes away from home to get to that vet, because it's that worth it. When you find a good vet, you find a good vet. So don't be afraid to widen out your search. Get on some rat forums. Ask them, hey, what do you guys do? Rat forums will be your best friend. I will leave linked down below the ones that I am/was a part of. I think I'm going to leave the forums once I don't have rats anymore, because I just don't. I would rather save the spot that I'm taking up for someone else, because I think sometimes they do hit max capacity. Rat forums will be your best friend. Find a vet. Get insurance. And then I want to go over some random things that I regret doing as a pet rat owner. One would be not getting the critter nation immediately, of course. Another one would be not taking more pictures. I'm actually getting a commissioned piece of work done right now with all 9 of my girls, and I'm where are all the pictures? Where are all the videos? I wish I had taken more. And I have a YouTube channel, and I still wish I had more. So don't forget to take the pic. Don't be afraid to like set yourself alarms or reminders like, hey, go grab a quick video or take a quick picture. Spend some quality time with them, because the bond you'll develop with these animals is just the most incredible thing ever. It is so, so incredible. So I regret not taking more pictures and videos. I actually regret not training them. I don't know if you guys have seen Shadow the Rat before. She's great. She has wonderful content. And she does like full-on tricks and training with her rats. I didn't ever do that. And I always was like, oh, I'll get around to it next week or whatever. And I never did. And I really regret that. I think that would have been really cool. And then I could have also done like, you know, the rat paintings or taking like more professional pictures of them. I wish I had done more photo shoots with my rats, for sure. I did one little fall photo shoot. It was so, I loved it so much. I just wish I had done more photo shoots later on and before that as well. I'm not doing more intricate free roams. Like, free roams are your chance to shine as a pet owner. Like, you can do so many fun things with a good free roam. And I wish that I had done more of those. Like, sometimes I feel a little guilty that, like, my free roam sometimes was just, like, opening the cage and letting them run around my office while I played video games. A lot of times, my girls especially, girls tend to not really want to give a crap with what you're doing immediately. They want to go explore and see everything new. So I wish I had done more intentional free roams. So I guess now would be a good time for me to talk about what's going on with these two. So both of them actually have pituitary tumors. Sakura has regular tumors as well. She has, she's had about like 7 to 11. I know it's like kind of a big difference, but like some of them are like questionable. Like, would you count that as its own tumor, or would that be like a cluster tumor? But Sakura has had like 7 to 11 tumors removed the past few months. She doesn't have like cancer, but her mammary glands are developing tumors like crazy. So for a while she was in and out of the vet. And now she's so old that this last mammary tumor that has developed, which is that big red thing that you might have seen on her side, they were like, we don't think that we should put her down to like put her under, I should say, to take that tumor out. Like, the healing process would be too much on her body and all this kind of stuff. So they don't recommend taking it out. But she also has pituitary tumor, which is a brain tumor. And Sakura's is basically, I don't know if you could see how she drags. Mobility issues are a direct cause of that. Boca actually had the same thing that Sakura had, minus the element of the tumor. But the back legs, the nerves start dying, basically, how it was explained to me by my vet. That's why she's like dragging herself, because she actually can't use her legs like normal anymore. Her nerves are broken, so they explained it like she basically doesn't know where her legs are. Like, her brain doesn't compute that they're there anymore. And it's starting to, like, you know, take the back of her spine too, so she doesn't go to the bathroom on her own. She can pee, but she can't do the other thing. So that's something that I immediately have to help her with, which is a telltale sign that it's time to let go. There is an equation of sorts that you can do. It's a quality of life check, and if you get a certain score, then it's basically like it's time to let them go. And Sakura has definitely hit those markings. So she is 100%. It's time for me to let her go. She's lived a very nice, long, full life, but it's time for her to go. And I don't want to be like, when I had Boca, I let it go on for way too long. But I don't want to do that with her. I don't want to make her suffer any longer than she has to. So, yeah. Today we're preparing to say goodbye to Sakura. And then Tamaki, honestly, is progressing very quickly. So hers, you might have noticed she's walking with a limp. It's a lot of water, sister. And she actually has a brain tumor that looks like it's pinching a nerve or like pushing up against a nerve. So that's why she's walking with a tilt. And she also is losing mobility in her rear legs. And both of them are eating tons and not gaining any weight. Like, they eat literally all day long. I have so many snacks and treats and stuff that I feel like I never got to use up properly. So I'm actually just like giving them all of them. Like, you probably saw the big old pile of treats I gave them earlier. And they're still not gaining weight. So unfortunately, that is, Tamaki is one that I'm going to have to talk to the vet about. I think it might be her time. We'll see what happens with that vet visit, but we're definitely saying goodbye to Sakura today. Then if it's not Tamaki's time, there's also the confusing situation of you can't have one rat. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to end up doing with that. I will talk to the vet today and kind of just go from there. I trust my vet. She's seen tons of rats before. So whatever she says, I think I'm just going to kind of follow along that. They've given me so much joy and so many things to think about, and even being feeder rats too, like they're just incredible. They're incredible animals. How you doing? She also is not cleaning up after herself when she goes, which is another thing that's like, you know, quality of life. Is it really there? Hi, what you doing? You want to do a free roam? You want to run around? Anyways, I don't want to deter you guys from having rats, but I do want you guys to have a realistic outlook on what it might be like. I don't believe that these are good pets for kids. I just don't. I don't think children should have to take care of rats like this unless you have a parent who's willing to like actually take care of the rats, and the rats are more like a family pet than a kid's pet, because they're a lot of work and you have to free roam them daily at the minimum, like 5 out of 7 days out of the week. Take a lot of attentive care. I had to do tumor checks daily. You have to be mindful of like, okay, is their attitude changing? Because that's a good sign of pain. But I mean, I'd say they're worth it. If you're able to put up with those things, if you're able to handle the pain, I think that they are incredible pets, and I really wish that more people would understand how amazing they are. They still have kind of a bad rep, which kind of sucks, but they're just amazing. They're just absolutely incredible. So I want to thank you guys for being along this journey with me. I thought I was going to own rats forever. I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't. And I know a lot of you guys are here for the rat content, so I do apologize if I'm letting anyone down, but I had to do what was best for myself and future rats. I don't know. I had to do what I could handle. So, yeah, I still plan on obviously posting. This channel is not just my rats, but oh boy, yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed this journey with me and appreciated my rats as much as I appreciated them. I know I didn't post them as often as I wish I could have or did, but I've loved having them on my channel, and I'm grateful to my past self to having been like diligent with making like the Ratty Box videos and having done all of that, because now I can look back on them and appreciate those times and see my animals that I'm gonna miss so much. They were just an amazing part of my life, and a journey I will never forget. So yeah, thank you guys for being along for the journey as well. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. If you have pet rats, let us know down below. What are some things that you are so excited to tell people about how amazing they are? And what are some pieces of advice for other rat people or people considering getting rats? Yeah, we'll make it an advice section. Alright, well, I appreciate you guys so much. I hope that you're having a wonderful day and have an even better tomorrow. Bye!